Is the campaign over for Joe Biden?
My dad used to have an expression. He said, Joe, a job is about a lot more than a paycheck.
Supreme Court blocks anti-immigrant census.
The next terrorist attack in Europe will be brought into reality.
Spider-Man looking good on the big screen.
There's a part of me that wants me to tell you just...
It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Special guest host, Alexis Lords. Special guest host, just TBoy. Special guest host, Antonio Biaggi. Special guest host, Log Cabin Republican Andrew Brett. And your host, lifestyle expert Napoleon Plays. Trans activist Aaron Phoenix. Reality star Chef Josie. DJ Diva Power Infiniti. Log Cabin Republican Joe Brookman. And our host, Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Well, good evening, America, and happy 4th of July to America. We are so happy you're with us. We have a fantastic show for you tonight at It's Happening Out, America's most popular live gay talk show. We are jammed full of things that we're going to talk about tonight, and we have an amazing group of people with us. First off, I have to say hello to Joe Brookman, who is in Washington. He's moving the tanks onto the Washington Mall as we speak. He's driving the tanks. And we say hello to Aaron Phoenix, who is vacationing with family. And hello to Napoleon Plays, who is watching us right now in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And he sent a picture a little while ago with the two college boys that he's enjoying at a museum in Buenos Aires. We got it, Napoleon.
They're whipping and pissing on him right now.
Exactly. So with those people doing God only knows whatever they're doing, we had to ask some of our friends of It's Happening Out, and I'd like to welcome, you've watched Pose, haven't you? The iconic, by the way, contractually, I'm required to say iconic, leader of the House of Lords, Alexis Lords. Welcome to It's Happening Out.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to talk about your big event.
The Jungle.
The Jungle Party. Pose, ever heard of it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. And of course, I know many of you. I always make a joke. I'm a big fan. You've seen him before. It's Happening Out. I'm a very big fan. Go online and read, and you'll understand that joke. Of course, our friend here in Wilton Manors, the gayest place on planet Earth, Antonio Biaggi. And the rumor is really strong this week that you're going to run for the city council of the gayest city in America.
Oh, yeah, right. I already went to City Hall, but I'm filing papers in October, so not yet.
All right,
so, yeah,
very good. Congratulations. Antonio has Lush Spa. Hush. Sorry. It's Lush. But it's
Hush.
I just created it.
No, it ain't Lush. You the Lush.
That's for the future.
I was making a joke because I've just finished a glass of
wine. Right before we went to
right? All right, Hush on Wilton Drive, and he also has a little adult entertainment business, been seen by like 40 million people on Pornhub. No big deal. And of course, from last week, we invited back Andrew Brett, the president of the Log Cabin Republicans. Why are you not also moving the tanks and flying the jets over the Washington Mall? Why are you not there doing that?
It's been done.
It's already been done. You have your minions to do that.
To do this show.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. So welcome all of you to It's Happening Out. Quite exciting. So, we are a live show. We invite you to like us, and we invite you to start a watch party. We continue to say that It's Happening Out, we think is important to talk about gay culture and our community. And if you think we're accomplishing that, share it with your friends and let them see. In fact, we have prepared this little package while Napoleon is in Buenos Aires in Argentina. He prepared this to show you how to start a watch party. Napoleon, watch this.
When viewing our live show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can then click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch partying. You've done it. Enjoy your party.
Well, that's the way you do it, and we hope you'll share us right now, like our page, etc., and so on. Share it with your friends. In conjunction with that, to the point of, is It's Happening Out valuable in our gay community? Are we popular? We keep saying we're America's most popular live gay talk show. Guys, I've got some news for you. When we started our first episode on September 20th, 2018, we had about 69 people watch us. That's an interesting number.
That's a lie.
That's a good number.
That's not true.
There's no problem with 69.
That's exactly right. Well, look at this slide. Last week, June 26th, we set an all-time record. 411,000 of you watched It's Happening Out.
That was my Republican brothers and sisters
Yes,
tuning in.
Andrew told me his participation last week
maybe.
added 60,000
I said
people.
100.
You see the second number, which I think is exciting. In all of our video programs that we did last week, 1.5 million of you watched It's Happening Out shows last week. That means every minute of every hour of every day for the last 7 days, 152 of you were watching a gay program in streaming. It is
Good job, guys.
absolutely
Thank you.
amazing.
Yes,
Thank
the way
you
to do
very
I feel the same way, people watching me.
Yes, but they're watching me in a completely different way than they're watching you do. Completely different. Exactly. All right, so let's move on. We remember we're a live show, so anything could happen. If Power loses his clothes, I can't stop him. Nothing. I can't control what these people say. It's a live show, and remember, we're a live show. Let's begin. Our first July episode of 2019 for It's Happening Out. First off, what happened last week? Any big events happened last week? Anybody remember anything happened?
Stonewall?
Oh yeah, Stonewall.
That big party.
Actually, it's still going on.
The parade in New York apparently is in hour 47 of the Stonewall Parade down Fifth Avenue. This has been really. We take a moment. We joke about what went on in New York and the parade, but I want to remind all of us and to our viewing audience all across America, we have just personally experienced the greatest, most important, most significant, most watched gay event in the history of the world in the last 7 days. In the last 7 days. Millions and millions and millions now know what Stonewall is all about.
Yes.
And
to all our LGBT haters, suck it.
We've arrived. Right, exactly. All right, well, let us show you a few things about it. First off, let's show you a quick rundown of some of the celebrity in this last week. Watch this.
It makes me cry. I am so emotional today. You are the definition of courage. Do you know that?
I want to say one thing. When the status quo tries to demonize any group, it's up to you, to us, to stand together, to resist, to make it our mission to play it forward for our brothers and sisters who still struggle for respect and their human rights.
Well, of course, Stonewall and the Stonewall Inn was ground zero. The mayor reported yesterday that the estimate was 5 million people participated in the Stonewall event in New York City. NBC reported more than 70,000 people participated, not watching the parade, marched in the parade.
Boom. Wow.
70,000 people. It's astounding. We watched media coverage on every major platform in America, whether it was morning shows, evening news, specials.
Facebook.
Right?
Well,
Unlike
almost
anything.
all of them.
Clearly.
Right.
The ones that weren't in jail.
Right, except for those that were in jail. Unlike anything that we've seen. Let us show you a little bit about the parade that happened in New York. Of course, and we'll show that to you now, and you can, our cast can see it over my shoulder. We saw a Stonewall parade that was amazing. We did about 2.5 hours here in the first Stonewall launch here in South Florida 2 weeks ago, and that kicked off the Stonewall celebration. This was the final parade event on Saturday, and the parade, by all accounts, lasted about 11 hours. Wow. 11 hours. There's something unbelievable like that. Where did they go to the bathroom? As you watch this, what are y'all's thoughts about what we watched here?
I mean, for me, what you see in New York is the convergence of our community coming together and marching for our visibility, and to really let the world know that there's no way in hell you're putting us back in the closet. Ever. Absolutely not.
I was gonna say it's one of the most amazing. It's actually I don't personally like to participate in Pride because for me it's a little hectic. I've been invited actually to be on a float in New York, and it's amazing. I mean the vibe of being in that parade is just great. It just represents everything. It's fun. And they actually marching for our rights. So they have different groups, which is important.
I think that for some of us, for some of the newer kids and the newer generation, everything is fabulous and it's a party and it is a thing to be proud of. But I think if you've come from some of the older, I can't believe I'm saying older. some of us older.
Would you write that down on a napkin for me, please?
You know, some of us older queens, when you look at how we grew up and what we had to go through and the fact that we couldn't be proud and out and loud and here and present when we were growing up, and then you see this, it really makes you appreciate so much more where we've come because you know where we've been.
Isn't it strange to me, isn't it strange, and to me, super strange, in your observation that if somebody watched the last week that is 16 years old, they will have never a concept of what you know in your head.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, amazing.
Exactly. And like you were to follow up with that, the kids today have no history of what Stonewall was. Today, it's a big party, let's go get drunk and blah, blah, blah. But the lives that were changed, the fights that we have fought, we're not going back into the closet like some people think we are. We're moving forward, and it's a huge celebration, and we all should be proud of ourselves.
It's funny to me. I love Christmas. My mother my mother was Christmas for me. My mother's gone, and I always think of Christmas, and I think about my mother. I always hated December 26th because Christmas was over, and I went through this Christmas blues thing. Anybody in the last couple of days kind of go through, wait, it's all done, and you're going through any blues of...
No.
Actually,
no.
There's like
Charging
Pride
your
all
body.
year.
Still talking about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody
There's Pride
does
every
it.
year.
All
year.
If I'm honest, it seems like it's been Pride since February. And Pride month is June, but for me and for others that like... It's
been Pride quarter.
that I tour
Pride
and do
year,
different things.
50th
It's been,
anniversary.
it's been
That's an
Pride
interesting
since...
point.
You know, I was ready for it to be over.
Yeah,
But there's Pride every month. Like we have parades in every state every month.
Yeah.
Every
Except for
country.
December,
Parades.
except for December and January, I think.
And not just the parades, the events, the parties,
Yeah.
the celebrations, the get-togethers, everything.
It's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
But
Well-
I I need a vacation from Pride.
Yeah, okay, all right.
gayed
Well,
out.
that's
I'm
a
gayed out.
Well,
good
that's just
soundbite.
because those old ones like us.
It's like
you
that's
know?
enough. No, all right. Well, that's a good soundbite for us to
Tag
move
out.
on. We always start our show with meme of the week, and this is the first time. You know, it's post Pride. Let's do some fresh things. You're going to see many interesting things tonight. Let's do a meme of the week, but for the first time ever, it's happening out. Let's do a video meme of the week.
Actually, this is a video meme of the month.
Right. Exactly. Let's watch this. You know my December 26th Christmas blues? Yeah, that was pretty much it.
That's me every weekend.
Right, exactly.
That's me after
walk
1
of
hour
shame.
of party.
That's me coming from space.
We also we start the show of our best thing of the week, and I loved last week. The It preview that we got was great. We have to tell you, of course, and we're going to do a little of this in a segment in a little bit. Big news as President Trump tweeted to President Un, if you'd like me to walk up to the DMZ, I'll do that. And the bizarre thing that happened this week, well, we have a crack investigative reporter team here at It's Happening Out, one of the best gay reporter teams in all of America, and you're getting ready to see this. We kind of followed the president along because we're just waiting to capture him.
Emphasis on the word crack.
Yeah, exactly. And we caught President Un from North Korea and President Trump going on a date. Going on a date.
Scandal.
Best thing of the week, and we caught it exclusively at It's Happening Out. Watch this.
Oh my God.
See? That didn't appear on NBC or CNN. We caught it exclusively. The thing that really made it spectacular for me is as President Trump has visited in North Korea the only Starbucks. There's only one. There's 50 in Fort Lauderdale. There's only one in North Korea, and they ended up at the Starbucks. I thought it was interesting that President Un made sure that he had hand sanitizer before. What do you think?
Is there really a Starbucks in North Korea?
No, there
yet.
really isn't.
I'll be surprised if there was.
But he's getting a McDonald's.
Yeah, I was like,
Wait,
no
power
way.
calls for this every single week. Where's your street cred? Last week you said, wow, there's going to be a new gay It. Where's your street cred? Come on, dude. Come on.
I loved
That's
how
what happens when you get older. You get
said-
softer, even power.
let's tweet and meet. And the best thing that came out of that meeting is that Dennis Rodman and Chairman Kim are going to go to Disneyland.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm
fine.
not going to fall for that.
All right. No, you're not falling for that one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to celebrity hot topics. Every week at It's Happening Out, of course, we're gay. We're LGBTQ+. We love our celebrities. Let's talk about a couple of the big things that are going on. First off, Spider-Man hits the theaters this week. I have a friend that just lives and dies on Spider-Man. He is the superhero. For you too?
Yes,
Really?
my favorite since I was a little kid.
Okay.
Always.
All right. Well, Tom Holland and Jake Gyllenhaal, as you watch this, let's hope at some point in this trailer they kiss. Watch this.
God.
When Fury asked me to come up here and see how you were doing, he felt bad about snapping at you.
Really?
You guys do have sarcasm on this earth, right? How you feeling?
I didn't think I was gonna have to save the world this summer. I know that makes me sound like such a jerk. I had this plan with this girl that I really like, and now it's all ruined.
I like you, Peter. You're a good kid. There's a part of me that wants me to tell you, just turn around, run away from all this, and then there's another part of me that knows what we're about to fight, what's at stake. And I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
But you're worried about your friends.
Yeah. Just always feel like I'm putting them in danger.
Look, just get them inside and keep them in a safe place for just a few hours and they'll be all right.
It's really nice to have somebody to talk to about superhero stuff, you know?
Anytime.
Production did a really terrible job because 5 seconds later from this scene, the two of them kiss. And it was beautiful. Oh, wait, no, that didn't happen. All right.
I don't think I could shoot a scene with Jake Gyllenhaal because I would probably be pre-coming. But I will say this. You guys probably didn't know this, and we're not doing the tell Al something he didn't know. But just recently, this did come out. Tom Holland said that he was asked if Spider-Man might be gay in future movies, and he said he definitely hopes so.
Oh, wow.
He might come out as gay.
He's the same one that said that he wouldn't mind stripping on any of the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Because he's an exhibitionist.
Yeah,
I
I think they should cast me in the movie that he comes out as gay.
Wait. I'm sorry, Napoleon. What did you say? Right, let's move on. Other celebrity hot topics, of course. This is the first time ever at It's Happening Out. Donald Trump is in celebrity news. And of course, that's because he did his celebrity walk of fame with the other Asian celebrity. It was like Madonna meeting Barbara Streisand at the DMC line. And we've prepared a little video of this kind of celebrity moment. Watch this.
Well, it is morning now here in Seoul, and the government is saying that President Trump's few steps into North Korea were steps toward peace. President Trump was first to arrive and walked slowly toward North Korea in the no man's land of the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ. Still unclear if he was coming, Kim Jong-un then emerged, walking faster to catch up. The two leaders shook hands. President Trump on South Korean soil, Kim Jong-un in the north.
Good to see you again. I've never expected to meet you at this place. Do you feel Excellency take a step forward? You will be the first U.S. president to cross the border.
President Trump asked and was invited to cross.
I asked him, I said, would you like me to come across the line? He said, I would be honored to do that.
The first sitting American president to set foot on North Korean soil. That President Trump wanted to do this had been circulating for weeks, but the logistics clearly only came together in the last minute. Security and American and North Korean television crews seemed confused and got in each other's way. Okay. The president's new press secretary caught up in the scuffle and bruised, according to the Associated Press. But real history is often messy. Messier still, because it all came together 48 hours after an invitation from President Trump over Twitter.
I have to tell you, America, let you in on a secret. We're sitting at the table and everybody kept chanting, hold hands, come on, hold hands. Any thoughts about what you just saw in Celebrity Hot Topics with Donald
Jared
Trump?
Curry, could you run it back to the part where the new press secretary was getting mollywopped?
Any thoughts from you?
I think it was a big historical day for the whole world.
Yeah.
And if you look back at the 44, he was looking at binoculars. He didn't have the guts
to
go and walk and make this happen and trying to denuclearize this country. And I wish the media would stop finding negativity with him and say something positive, because there is something positive that will come out.
Here it comes from my question, and I hear you loud and clear. Do you think that this will turn in over the course of the next 15 months, which is how much time he has left? Because November.
6 years.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see. However, but do you think over like the course of the next 15 months, that moment will lead to something positive? Do you honestly believe that?
Absolutely.
You do?
Absolutely,
All
without it. I bet my life on it.
Yes, that's wishful thinking.
No.
That's first. Yes, it was a historic moment in theatrics. And B, please let us not bring up 44, because if Obama had done the same thing,
he didn't.
He would
have been criticized.
There was no way he could have done it. If he had, you guys would have lynched him.
Wait,
Exactly.
and I want to remind everybody before I move on, because I've got to move on. 4 years ago, President Obama went to Havana and was roasted for doing
Exactly.
half of what we just watched. So,
communist
so there's validity on both sides.
It's
in
just
terms
sad
of
the way
observation.
that he loves communist countries and dictators. It's just really crazy.
And that's the
weird.
point of
It's
Castro's
just
meeting
horrible.
in Havana. Let's move on. A final celebrity hot topic that we want to talk about is something super gay. Super happy, fun America. Of course, that is straight pride. And it appears that they're going to be able to do it in August and get the permits in Boston to have a straight pride. And they got bombed this week.
Yes.
Except the bombing by secret envelopes was full of glitter, and they had no idea. Wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Us to you with love.
So we're going to watch this summer. Straight Pride is coming. So we're finished with Stonewall. Now we're going to move on. They did a press release yesterday saying in Straight Pride is going to be the greatest pride parade in the history of the world.
Listen, as ridiculous as straight pride is, as if we need to celebrate being straight, guys. I mean, the world is predominantly straight. You know, you should probably recognize when you have the upper hand, but that's okay. If we want to create a parade, you know, that's what the First Amendment is for.
True.
You go ahead and celebrate your
Exactly.
day. Go ahead, spend your money, and all my straight friends out there, go ahead and march
at
on
it.
down.
And then
Have
come to
fun.
Boston Pride the next time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's it,
Diva.
you know?
I do have a really simple question. Why do we, and this is not a read, I really want to know, why do we care about straight pride? What is it about straight pride that seems to
I'll tell you right to the point.
or
A lot of
threaten
what
us or-
I'm reading about it is that there has been such a challenge over the last 20, 30, certainly 50 years, but over the last 20 years, Will and Grace implementation coming in at the late 90s, that so many gay people, LGBTQ plus people, feel like we're there, we're right there, and now in some way they're trying to take it away from us.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why we all respond, or generally we're responding in that way. It's resentment of, why are you trying to take this moment away?
The motive. What's the motive
What's
behind
the
it?
motivation of it? Anyway, we'll watch it, and we wish Super Happy Fun America, and we hope they loved their bombs. That
They'll
got
have
their-
69 people.
Exactly, 69 people is how it's going to start. Let's move in out of celebrity hot topics into the headlines of the week, and there are many. First, the Supreme Court ruled this week about citizenship questions and that it could not be on the 2020 census. And that the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, would not hear these cases. Watch the news on this subject.
Supreme Court on the final day of its term has just issued two long-expected rulings. First, the High Court decided it cannot get involved in a dispute over congressional district maps that were challenged as being too favorable to one political party.
And the court ruled the Trump administration needs to explain more fully why it wants to add a question about citizenship to the 2020 census.
The justices and a majority opinion by the Chief Justice John Roberts, joined by the four liberal justices, are saying they're just not buying the explanation that the Commerce Department gave for why it needed to add that citizenship question.
Jan, on gerrymandering, the justices by a 5-4 vote decided redistricting cannot be policed by a federal court. What does that mean?
Again, a decision by the Chief Justice, this time with the conservatives, saying that this isn't a question for the federal courts to get involved in. When a state and state legislatures are drawing their electoral maps, that if they're doing it purely for political purposes to preserve their own power, the federal courts shouldn't be getting involved in that. State courts can look at it. State legislatures can come up with independent commissions for redistricting. But short of something like race discrimination, they're just not going to get involved in these issues that they see as purely political disputes. A very strong dissent in this case, by the way, by Justice Elena Kagan with the liberals, which she summarized from the bench, calling it really a sad day for democracy.
Very interesting, Jan. Thank you very much.
Well, breaking news on this subject. The Justice Department originally was rejected by the High Court, and President Trump tweeted, I believe yesterday, on this issue of his disappointment in the court's decision and that it should continue to be pursued. And the Justice Department has announced today, this afternoon, in breaking news, that they are going to continue to explore ways to incorporate your legal status as a citizen in the 2020 census. Any thoughts about what we've heard the Supreme Court say this week?
I will say that the census was that way in 2010 until Obama took it out. The president wants to put it back in, and now the Supreme Court wants more of a definition, more expanded verbiage, according to Justice Roberts. Then he'll hear it again.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
So the Justice Department, or rather the Supreme Court, is being very confusing, if you want to be quite frank about it. You know, to rule one way on gerrymandering and then one way on the census question and issue. It's like saying, okay, well, we can't rule on voter inequality, but I can tell you right now you're going to now include those people who are not citizens on the census. So I don't understand exactly the Supreme Court's position on it all, because it just seems like the two judgments negate each other. And for me, gerrymandering, it's not only a local issue. To me, it's a federal issue, and we have to ensure federally that the lines are drawn in a way that have everyone's voice heard.
Okay, about 20 more seconds. Any final thoughts?
I don't think we need to draw lines. I think we need to embrace. You are who you are in this country. You check the box who you are. Move on.
We don't need to know if they're citizen or not.
Yes, we.
The census is designed to report how many Americans.
What does that have to do with?
Which one are Americans?
Yes.
If you're living here.
If you're living here, that's it. That's all that matters. You don't have to say if you're illegally. That doesn't matter to them.
That's where we need to get to.
For me, that will be offensive.
No.
Okay, well, that's the difference in perspective. Let's move on in other headlines. Religious freedom laws. Everybody knows the decision following Indiana's lead that the vice president led. Who bakes the cake? Question. And of course, Texas has been going through this, and the governor of Texas considered the Texas law about religious protection. It was called the Chick-fil-A law. And the question came up of whether or not the governor would sign the Chick-fil-A law in Texas. What do you think happened?
Well, are you going to explain this?
Well, I am. So we have a little piece here that we've prepared about the Bake the Cake law in Texas. Watch this.
Down in Texas, they had a so-called Save Chick-fil-A bill, and the question is whether or not the governor, Greg Abbott, would sign it. He tweeted this, so what are the odds I'll sign the Chick-fil-A bill? I'll let you know after dinner. Exactly. And what it was was it was a bill to protect
there it is.
private...
He had the Chick-fil-A. Look at his laptop.
The bill is to protect private entities from punishment over actions they take due to their religious beliefs.
All right, so San Antonio Airport. I used to live there, flew into that airport all the time. And they have, obviously, restaurants, their food court. And Chick-fil-A wants to move in there. Well, the area lawmakers, the local lawmakers said no because there's some controversy with this restaurant, whether or not what their beliefs are on LGBT. And so they voted no. Well, it went all the way to the governor's desk, and he just signed it.
Chick-fil-A. We have one across the street from
even
us.
If you disagree with a restaurant's politics, it doesn't mean I'm necessarily like they're fair.
Do you understand every time you try to stop Chick-fil-A, you help Chick-fil-A?
I know, right.
So here we go.
Here we go, talking about them.
Right. All right. So while they eat, I'll tease, I guess. In just a few hours,
are delicious.
Right.
Okay. Well, I love a joke. Clearly, I love a joke. I have to observe what we watch here is people that also love a joke, but on a completely different political perspective. My question is, and in this interview on Fox and Friends, in the morning show, the governor came on. And the governor came on eating Chick-fil-A with a Chick-fil-A sandwich in his hand and held up the bag of Chick-fil-A and then said, I eat at Chick-fil-A 5 times a week in this exact same segment. We didn't show it to you because it wasn't important. They make the joke of the Bake the Cake law, and Fox and Friends and the cast, the host, make the joke, which they're completely entitled to do. We make our own jokes here, but do they go a step too far in terms of saying, okay, Texas can have the Bake the Cake law, Chick-fil-A law, religious protection law in terms of being anti-LGBTQ plus, or pro your decision-making, religious. All of that aside, the question is, do you go too far in terms of the governor making a joke by tweet And then Fox and Friends doing this, basically poking all of LGBTQ plus America in the eye. Did they go too far?
They're pathetic, so who cares? They're just like, I don't know. They're just a joke. They're a joke themselves.
I wasn't offended by Chick-fil-A. They didn't do anything for my gay rights. We have a choice. They're closed on Sundays. God bless them. That's their right.
They donate
and
money.
Wait.
San Antonio has, and this airport is in San Antonio. They have protection of religion, sexual orientation, blah, blah, blah. The San Antonio Council reversed what they supported, and that's the fact.
Okay, and broadly, and I hear that point, and I hear your point, but broadly, my question is more specific. Let's 20 or 30 more seconds of, can the joke go too far where you actually poke and offend, because this is quicksand here.
Yeah,
humor.
it's irresponsible that folks who have platforms continue to spread hate. When you make jokes like this, they're in bad taste, guys. Didn't your folks teach you any kind of manners? That's really what it comes down to. And we can go ahead and have distasteful jokes. Go get on a stage. It's called stand-up. And go ahead and get paid to do it. But when you have a platform that you inspire, you affect other people's lives, and there are people watching you, and you continue to use that platform to spread hate, then shame on you.
I disagree.
Go ahead.
I had to get that in before you cut the segment, because what I'm going to say is very surprising, especially being where I always come from. But I kind of disagree, and this is why. I think there's two separate issues here. I think, one, do I believe that a private entity has the right to donate to religious organizations that are anti-gay? Yes, absolutely. It's their right.
Yeah.
It's a private entity. I don't have to like it. I don't have to support it. I don't have to agree with it. But I do believe it's their right. Now, is it offensive? Yes, it's offensive to us because we believe a certain way. Just like they would look at our gay pride parade and be offended. And they could ask the same question. Well, is that going a little too far? Yeah, for them. But for us, it's our right to celebrate who we are. The reason I don't think it goes a little too far is because it is, of course, it's going to offend us. We expect that they're going to be offensive because they're morons. But I don't think that they go too far in that it is their freedom of speech to advocate their position. And though I always say, even though I do not agree, even with racists and bigots and deplorables and lowlifes, I will always fight for their right to say what they have to say. I don't think that what they're saying is hate speech.
It's interesting to me. I have to move on. I want to move to the next headline, but it's interesting to me. I would have much rather had the cast of Fox and Friends say, you guys are ignorant, and say that about me as opposed to eat Chick-fil-A the way they did. I would have much rather had the direct smack as opposed to the offensive, inactive smack which they gave us.
But they knew what they were doing.
They did, for sure. Moving on to headlines, I want to talk about Lil Nas X. Of course, he has one of the big songs in America right now. Unusual thing happened through Stonewall, leading up to Stonewall. He came out in song and then ultimately in promotion. And we have a slide here, or we have, this slide talking about him coming out. We have this slide that he posted, which is interesting, and then a Facebook post that I did up on top of it. And you see his post in terms of using the N-word, but also I posed the question, wait, how can he, being a rapper and being black, make what I thought was a notation to toxic masculinity individuals of threatening if they responded to him in whatever way, his response would be not in fight, but in kiss. And I posted on Facebook, could a 50s white gay guy do this exact thing? What would the response be if I said this exact sentence as it related to talking to my community, my white, older community, gay, the gay guy doing this? What would the response be? What do y'all think about Lil Nas X coming out as a rapper and and these kind of messages. What do y'all think?
They'll ask you to remove yourself from your seat if you talk like that.
If I talk like that, well,
Yeah,
that's what I was supposed
because
to
it's you.
Exactly.
Now, when I say because it's you, I mean if you had a reputation of being some type of Billy Badass, of, for example, if you were like, if it was Eminem that said the same thing, he's white, you know, and he's not 50, but he's older. If he said the same thing, nobody would even blink an eye because he already has that reputation. You, as Al Ferguson, you have this. You're a pillar of our community. So I don't so much think it's because you're a white guy in your 50s. I think it's because of the
what I represent.
Yes, what you represent.
Oh, that's
that would be.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts about Little Nas X and what happened this week?
Welcome to the family, girl.
Yeah.
Hey, girl.
The final thing that we want to talk about, and it's kind of bringing Stonewall to an end. Of course, the big concert was at Pride Island, and that was with Madonna. It was a ticket. They talked about it at ABC and Broadcasting the Parade. It was an unobtainable ticket. Simultaneously, Madonna introduces last Wednesday, God Control. And first off, we want to show you the video from the stage of her performing at Stonewall at Pride Island. And watch this. We'll talk over it in terms of her video. And we've included some of the textual messages here in terms of what this video is all about. We're going to show you something about it in a moment. But what did y'all think about Madonna's performance and being the big anchor at Stonewall and World Pride, New York City Pride this weekend? And this was Saturday night in a sold-out ticket for it. What did y'all think?
Un-American.
Un-American?
Totally un-American.
And why is that?
Because she bashes America.
She bashes guns.
Yeah, well, before we get into guns, separately, how does she bash America?
She puts the president down. She puts the country down. She doesn't live here. She chose to live in another country. So she's un-American.
She's still American. Bashing the president is not un-American. The president is basically Putin's cocksucker, so he can't really be held up as a representative for America.
But the sad thing is our president.
Which y'all refuse. Okay,
he's your president.
You're both president.
I'm simply surprised.
He makes it very clear that he doesn't want to be my president. He's the president.
I'm simply surprised that Madonna doesn't. It's not. There isn't a house of Madonna yet, and I know that we have Father Lords here at the table, and I'm surprised. That
I think it's amazing.
I would tell you this. Madonna is part of a house itself.
Of a house, yeah.
Oh.
She has been since back in the 80s, correct me if I'm wrong.
The 80s.
She's part of the House of Extravaganza. She was made an honorary
She is
member.
a House of Extravaganza.
Extravaganza. I want to transition to Over My Shoulder, and if we can loop it back, Steve, when it finishes. One of the things that we want to show you, which was really significant, here we're showing you excerpts from God Control. And basically, this is probably the most significant anti-gun messaging video. It's a music video, of course, I have ever seen. I was struck. I had strong warning in terms of watching it. You watched our Pulse show 2 weeks ago. You know my connection with Pulse. She is basically replicating and reenacting Pulse in a reverse timeline, showing the gun shooting, showing the people being killed. And to the point of her having her own house, I can almost not imagine to the specificity of these images of almost anyone else being able to accomplish this.
El, if I might add to something that does strike very, very close to home, because I remember when you messaged me when Pulse occurred, because there was a talk that the father of the House of Lords was one of the ones that got shot inside Pulse. Fortunately, it wasn't me, but it was one of us that was inside Pulse that when it actually happened. And he was one of the ones inside the bathroom and got shot 5 times.
One of the things that I would say now,
Jeffrey. Jeffrey from Orlando, he was one of the ones, Jeffrey Lords, eccentric Lords.
And of course, I take the opportunity to say, Edward Sotomayor. Eddie Sotomayor was the first name announced at Pulse. This video is breathtakingly incredible as an anti-gun message. I highly encourage you to...
Anti-terrorism message.
Yes.
Not gun control. It was a terrorist attack.
Well,
it has nothing to do with gun control.
I completely
How
hear
did he
what
get
you're
his hands on
saying.
it?
I completely
So do I, and I
hear
completely
it.
disagree.
And I completely disagree, and I understand the point that you just made. You for sure should watch it. It is so incendiary that we've made the decision that we won't show the video to you, except in screen behind me.
Let me ask you, as somebody that is truly affected. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all.
That's all right.
Hi. Time. Saved by the bell.
Do you, Al, find this video as something that would be positive, or did it strike you as painful?
People in production, and a very good friend of mine in production that is also significantly affected directly from Pulse, they all warned me in advance. I have heard stories, I haven't read it, I'm going to go back and read it, that people from Sandy Hook and Las Vegas, Pulse of course, Marjorie Stoneman, if you were caught off guard and watched this, it would devastate you. I'm not sure I would have been able to do the show today if I would have seen this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Unprepared for what it was, it would have devastated me. I watched it prepared. I watched it for about 2 minutes. I stopped, walked away and told everybody, I can't watch this. And then about 45 minutes later, I came back and then I sat down and watched it. And it's devastating. But the message in terms of gun control in it, it's not a particularly good song. And really, and everybody said, oh, the song's not very good. And when I watched it, I realized the song doesn't have to be very good. Madonna's messaging of words, she focuses on the words of the message. This, as an anti-gun message, and somebody is principally involved in this, is near brilliance.
Yes.
Because of the way she concentrated.
I think it's great, and I wanted to say something that is great that she headlined in Pride, because she's been a gay icon since the 80s, and before Gaga and all these other stupid bitches that they're now trying to imitate her, and people follow her, the new generation. Madonna have always pushed the limits. Every single time since the 80s, she always pushed the limits. So that's why I think this is great. And this is basically her. She might not be the best singer, because I never thought she was the best singer.
She's a dancer.
She's a dancer. She's a great performer, and she will change 10,000 times in the show. I think it's great, and I think this is just Madonna one more time pushing the boundaries. So I think it's great.
If this was her farewell song, she's gone out as a superstar in this video. Everyone should watch it.
One more time.
I want to move up and move into, that's the end of our headlines. I want to move into some of our segments that we're going to talk about tonight. First, the Democratic debates. Now, of course, everybody knows. I went to events. A big thing happened. We teased it in our opening package. Is Joe Biden in trouble?
Yes.
Did he do a not a very good job last week? And there was an exchange between Kamala Harris and him that brought basically the Democratic America to a stop. Watch this moment.
And I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden. I do not believe you are a racist. To hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well,
I
there
did
was
not
a
oppose
failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision.
So that's where the federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people.
Supported the ERA.
Well, as you can see, it was an exchange, and the question is Biden hurt?
Yes.
Definitely.
And why do you think that?
Well, because we at one point thought he was invincible, and this clearly showed that he is, he has a weakness, that he is beatable. I don't think that I wouldn't count him out. I think it's way too early to do that. And I will say this, that if he ends up being the nominee, I wouldn't give a damn if he ran a plantation. I'm voting for him.
That's great. And I'm voting in that vein.
I'm voting for him over Trump.
Yeah. Wait. Please allow me to make the connection. Only, I would, if y'all don't mind, please give me the liberty. Please give me the liberty of only having one more comment on this before we move on. But I want to point out that you said yes immediately, and he said yes immediately.
We agree.
So let's turn to the agreement. We have agreement here at the opposite end. Why did you say yes? He's hurt.
I think Camilla really took it out of the park. Camilla Parker.
Kamala.
Kamala Parker, girl.
Hopefully our next president. I think what you left out was the best comment, that Americans don't want a food fight. Americans want food on the table.
That was good.
Move on. And I thought she was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I still stand by she's going to
So she's your girl in 2020.
Yes.
For Donald to run against, absolutely.
Admit it, yeah.
All right. Well, we want to real quickly show you some of the things that happened in social media. Of course, it went afire. And we have created the top 5 funniest moments online about the Democratic debates. And we're going to run through these really quickly. At number 5, in terms of Elizabeth Warren's, the people that she fears, and she has a blank sheet. And we thought that was funny. And then in terms of number 4, of the mirror images of 2 candidates that right from the gate look exactly the same way. That's really 2 different people. And then in number 3, we thought this was a good one too.
Yeah, my God.
Funny, yeah. There was some hits online. I swear, online is unmerciful. There's no mercy.
Yeah.
And then number 2, and look at this picture, because this is the stud muffin of the group, and look at that picture.
Yes, look at that scowl.
And look at the bags under his eyes.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful boy.
Poor
there.
man's not getting any
He's-
sleep
and
on
that's
this
the joke.
presidential
That's the
run,
joke.
huh?
And of course, number 1, funniest moment online about the Democratic debates. Yes.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Yes. And see, I'm not even reading because I would mispronounce the Spanish. I'm not going to risk it.
I have to say, I have a criticism from that because I saw a little part of the debate. I didn't saw that much, but the translator. We're in Miami.
Terrible.
Come on, you guys can get a better translator, English, Spanish.
We're in South Florida too.
We're in Miami. I mean, come on, it was awful.
The Democratic debates were last week. We're going to talk about an infinitum until November 3rd, 2020, and you're going to hear a lot from us on this subject. Let's play a game. Let's close up the headlines and the big hard news, and let's play a game. And we're going to play Shag, Marry, Chop. And we're going to do an individual game of Shag, Marry, Chop. And this week, we haven't played it in a while. In honor of 4th of July, we got 3 hot American heroes, actors, that are veterans in the U.S. military. All 3. That's their common tie. And we're going to play Shag, Marry, Chop. Our first choice is Adam Driver. And our second is Steve McQueen. And our third is Tom Selleck, the original Magnum PI from the famous pool scene from Magnum PI.
I think we had the same taste.
All right, so our 4th of July edition of Shag, Marry, Chop. Who would like to start? Antonio.
Okay,
of
so
course.
first is Shag, right?
Oh, wait. Who's Antonio going to shag?
Adam.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, why not?
Why not? That's not a good reason. When you're in adult entertainment.
Why
not?
It's okay.
Okay.
I
all right.
mean,
who are you going to marry?
Tom Selleck, obviously.
Okay.
I like a daddy,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Plus, he's old, so he might die soon, so I might get the money.
Yeah.
And then I'll chop Steve McQueen.
Did you just? Oh my goodness! Roll that back next year. All right. Who else? Shag, Marry, Chop. Somebody play.
I'll shag Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. You know, does it embarrass you and me at all that 98% of the 411,000 people that will watch the show have no idea who Steve McQueen is? Isn't that unbelievable?
I didn't know until this morning. So
no, shut
Really?
up. Okay, you're shagging Steve McQueen. Look it up, America.
Google's your friend.
Okay.
If they don't censor it.
Yeah, the Google machine. All right.
I'm going to marry Tom Selleck, hands down.
Selleck.
And I'm going to tap Adam Driver because he's boring.
So
Boring.
he's out because he's boring.
Okay. Nothing.
All right.
He's
somebody
free
else.
sexual being.
Okay, so I'm going to shag Steve McQueen, okay?
Good for you.
Yeah, he's got that daddy, older guy
The
thing.
convertible.
Yeah.
He is, by the way, y'all don't know this, he is San Francisco. He represents San Francisco for his entire career. He was in gay community, traditional straight community. He was San Francisco.
I'm going to marry, and you're going to freak out on this one, but Adam Driver, because he just looks like fun. We'd be like totally
Boring
having fun.
What does that say about you? What does that say about you? All right.
Okay, and I have to chop Tom Selleck, even though he's so hot, because he looks exactly like my stepdad, and my mother would be so pissed right now if I wanted to shag or marry him. Okay.
I want to go to your house.
You want to meet stepdad?
Yeah.
Let's go to your mom.
Yeah.
Tell your stepdad. Oh, I have this guy named
Yeah,
Antonio.
Joe, how you doing out there? Okay, it would be
Antonio.
weird.
Yeah, it would be. All right, Shag, marry, chop.
I'll take the next
All
one.
right. Shag.
I'll definitely shag Adam Driver. He screams pure sexiness.
Oh.
That right there is not boring.
That's no.
That right there is sex for 4 hours straight.
So, wait, he beats me to the joke. I am very familiar with Cuba, by the way. And I was going to say, oh, you're speaking very Cuban. And then you add 4 hours of sex. Okay. Any comment on that?
No.
No. Okay.
I'll restrain from
we
that
were
one.
just in Cuba together, so anyway. All right. That was going to be my joke. Mary?
I would definitely marry Steve McQueen. Those eyes are like
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
I would shop Tom Selleck because I've never been to anyone with a mustache.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Really?
Yep.
Well, all right. Power?
I mean, it's really hot.
Shagging. You have to play the game.
All right, I will. I'd shag, marry, and chop all of them.
Okay.
Can I tell you
This
about
is really hard for me. So I would shag Steve McQueen because you guys brought him back from the dead for one night for me. And when else will I get a chance to be with him? So I will shag Steve McQueen. He's an icon.
Okay.
I will marry Tom Selleck the way he looks here, not Tom Selleck today.
Not Friends, Tom Selleck.
Not Tom Selleck the way he looks
On the
now.
TV show Friends. Remember
Right.
him from Friends? He was Jennifer's boyfriend.
Okay, well, yeah. And not
Y'all
the-
remember Friends, right?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the Tom Selleck that's on the
For 5 years.
on the insurance commercials or whatever. Not right now, no. But
The
here,
Marlboro
yes.
Man.
So I would marry Tom Selleck, and unfortunately, I have to give Adam Driver up. But he'll be in good hands with Antonio. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's Shag, Mary, Chop. I congratulate production because I really like watching them move over and over again, especially the Tom Selleck one at the pool. I loved it. All right. Everybody remember, tomorrow is the 4th of July. It's our Independence Day. An interesting speech took place from Bernie Sanders, kind of paraphrasing and summarizing the 4th of July, talking about freedom in America. Let's begin our discussion about the 4th of July by showing you what Bernie Sanders had to say. Watch this.
Freedom is an often used word, but it is time that we took a hard look at what that word actually means. Ask yourself, what does it really mean to be free? Are you truly free if you are unable to go to a doctor when you are sick or face financial bankruptcy when you leave the hospital? Are you truly free if you cannot afford the prescription drugs you need in order to stay alive? Are you truly free if you are 70 years old and forced to work because you lack a pension or enough money to retire? Are you truly free if you are a mother with a newborn baby, but you are forced to go back to work immediately after the birth of that child because you lack paid family leave? Are you truly free if you are a small business owner or a family farmer who is driven out of business by the monopolistic practices of big business? Are you truly free?
Well, we hope you have a safe 4th of July holiday. We thought it was an interesting challenge that Bernie Sanders puts out in thinking about our freedom. Another interesting thing happened, I guess you've heard. I've done it 3 times myself, the National Mall, the PBS broadcast at the Capitol. This year is going to be the biggest fireworks display ever done in Washington because President Trump has gotten involved. That's why Joe Brookman is in Washington. As I told you at the top of the show, he's moving the tanks in on to the Washington Mall as we speak. And the president is going to speak for the first, I believe, the first time in over a century. 4th of July, sitting president of the United States is going to speak tomorrow. Kind of makes it political. There's lots of criticism in terms of the amount of money that's being spent, whatever you think about that. But it was interesting because the president tweeted, I believe yesterday, about the 2 major businesses that have donated the fireworks for the national fireworks celebration. And here is his tweet about it. Talking about how much gratitude America has to them, and it's a great way to make the fireworks and Independence Day celebration of America great again. And this was his tweet. And an interesting thing happened. The director of the National Fireworks Association, that both of these companies are members of, tweeted their own response of going, basically, please help us. Because President Trump's issue with China has caused dramatic costs to the firework industry, and they respond by going, basically, we're really happy to donate the fireworks, but would you please help us because you're taxing us to death in tariffs? And it turns out that the United States controls about 65% of the entire fireworks market in the world from China. And please don't tax us to death. Okay, so that's what's going on tomorrow in Washington with the president. And what do y'all think about 4th of July? Any quick thoughts?
I think it's the most hypocritical holiday, and you probably will call me the most anti-American. I don't give a fuck. This is the most hypocritical holiday because it's a holiday about illegal immigrants that came to this continent, the continent of America, which I don't call this country America because America is a continent, not one country. And they separated themselves from England. And I think it's just like horrendous, everything that we're celebrating something, but at the same time we're condemning, illegal immigrants. So I think it's a hypocritical holiday.
I want a quick question before I come to you. Who's your campaign manager for the Wilton?
I'm going to be my own campaign manager.
Okay. You were going to say?
And I will always win.
You need to take History 101 and Constitution 101.
I actually studied history in college. That was my specialty.
Other thoughts about 4th of July? Any other thoughts about the 4th?
Well, this year is going to be a different celebration, I think, for many Americans. As for me, these are the days that are a little sad to celebrate our independence when maybe to echo a little bit of what you're saying is we're seeing everywhere that as Americans, we're not really experiencing the independence that we are celebrating. So this 4th of July is a little different. And there's actually a tweet that's going around right now to resist watching the broadcast on television. So that we're not basically feeding into the energy that we're giving to Trump and his parade, his
communist parade.
We have the freedom to sit here as gay people doing a live broadcast. What freedom is not being taken and celebrated here today? Explain that.
Let me, and I hear your question, unless somebody wants to jump right in.
Well, I mean, it's not about me.
It's about us as an as
And we are
Americans.
Americans sitting
We're
here
not
as
not all Americans in this moment
US
are receiving the kind of freedom.
Well, get here
and,
legally.
And all
Not
of the
illegally.
Americans right now, including the LGBT
US
community,
citizens, yes.
okay, including the LGBT community, our rights are being attacked every single day.
From what?
So
How?
when we're
Tell me
talking
what
about
rights are being
independence,
taken away,
let's
Josie.
not be
Tell me what
hypocrites
rights
about
are being taken away.
One at a time, please.
Let's not be hypocrites.
No, I'm not being a
Let's not
hypocrite.
be hypocrites.
What
And I will
right
not
has been taken-
celebrate Independence Day until we start to actually look at the issues and we start to be realist about the issues.
You celebrated Independence Day when you went to Fiji as a married lesbian woman from America.
One of the
That's
things that I
American
want to
freedom.
add, that part of the thing that came for the 4th of July,
30 seconds
it was
and
that
we're
people
gonna
were
move on.
paying taxes to Britain and they didn't have votes or anything in England. And that's the same thing of my country, Puerto Rico, that we pay taxes and we don't have representation here in this country. So we have the same rights, and until we don't get the same rights, I don't give a fuck about this country because we don't have the equal rights
There's the exit
that
door.
you guys have.
There's the exit door. But
I'm
why?
in New York,
That is the
and I'm
sim-
here
that is
where
the
US
response
citizen,
always.
honey. Maybe you should go back
Now,
to England.
I want to create the
yourself.
distinction. I'm not saying fuck this country. I'm a proud American.
I know.
Okay,
You
I
didn't
want to.
say- you didn't say
I want to
race.
say that.
We're
I want to.
not
I want to
here
make
race
sure.
here.
I
We're
want to make.
talking over each other, and I want to hear you.
I want to make sure that the distinction is there. I'm not saying fuck America. I'm talking about fuck this independent 4th of July hypocritical celebration. That's what I'm saying. And until we all start to be very conscious about how we are being, especially about the LGBTQAI community, then we're full of shit right now. Okay, excuse me, guys.
It's interesting to me, and I've never seen this in my lifetime. I hear the big two sides of this argument. An observation about the 4th of July. I have to say to you, it's an interesting time to me, just philosophically, because I don't think I've ever been going into a 4th of July. I've been to this event 3 times. I have sat as a VIP at Macy's, invited at NBC's event in New York. I've never come into a 4th of July with this kind of raw feeling going on in America ever before. And I think that is interesting in that we are so polar divided. I'm not sure what it is. We're not going to resolve it here tonight for
I
sure.
know exactly what it is.
Well, no. I don't know what's going to bring that together, because even if we get generally what the LGBTQ community wants on November 3rd, 2020, we're still going to have this gigantic polar divide. And that's what I really think we should be focusing on. The issue is not going to go away if Trump is removed, because they are going to become exactly what I'm hearing from this standpoint. And that's what we're going to have to focus on.
Anyway, I want to say something in a good note. Since I'm not celebrating the 4th of July, I'm going to join a group of people, and we're actually going to animal shelters to help the animals that are going crazy because of the fireworks, that we should have silent fireworks. So I think that's what I'm going to do instead of supporting this stupid holiday.
Okay,
So,
4th of July tomorrow, whatever you decide to do, whether it's to go to the fireworks, whether it's to celebrate silent fireworks, whether it is to salute the military planes and the tanks on the National Mall,
Hang out with your
or
friends.
it's fuck you, America, whatever that may be, happy 4th of July to you.
Happy 4th.
All right, let's move on to the ball scene. I've watched Pose. I love it. I went to and judged an event for Power in the iconic House of Infiniti, and we are escalating further conversation because the big Jungle Ball is coming to Miami.
3 years in a row.
Right, and we're getting ready to show you a video, and the video is going to come up here. And we are going to talk about, I'm going to talk as this video is up, and Jared is going to tell me when we're ready. Oh, we're in it, okay. And we're going to bring in our special guest. The Jungle Ball, Alexis, tell us about what we're watching here.
We're watching right here one of the categories that is
category
performed.
is?
That category is Vogue.
Vogue.
You
okay.
have different types of voguing. There's not just one. There's different styles. There's different methods. And as you can see, that everyone is just truly enjoying it.
Yeah. I am going to come to your ball.
Please do.
I am going to come.
That sounded kinky, though.
Wait, I'm going to come to your ball. Yeah, that's
Yes.
probably, I didn't word that correctly. And Josie says she's coming with me.
Yeah.
And as we talk about the ballroom scene, I don't know a lot about this. So we talk about gay culture and gay community. So this is an area of it. We welcome our special guest, TBoy, here in South Florida.
This is
welcome
my
to the
partner.
show.
Thank you. This is my partner for 3 years in a row. We have been doing Florida's most anticipated and packed
Your
ball.
promotional partner.
And,
Yes.
and Jared, we're in
Thanks for
side
not
by
marriage
side.
partners.
Yes, okay. Well, welcome to It's Happening Out, T-Boy.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about, I understand you're a winner in various different categories.
I walk runway. I walk European runway, and I am a of the year winner here in Florida for runway. I'm currently the star of the year. Star of the year is basically when you come into a ballroom, you're at first a virgin, and then after.
And is that true?
Technically, for your category, you're a virgin because you never walked in.
When you
When you first step in ballroom, you're automatically considered a virgin for any category.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm a little confused. When you say European runway, is that a category?
Yeah, runway has 3 breakdowns. There's European runway, which is a more
Naomi Campbell effect.
Yes, with the fierce
More
attitude and the hips
Sashay
and the
and
turnings and stuff, the spins and the pivots, and then you have all American runways, which normally you see on fashion shows, just a straight up and down runway. And then we have female figure runway, where our drag queens, our trans women, and our cisgender women also walk female figure runway.
Yeah, okay. And I'm curious, a house, and you're part of.
I was a Mizrahi for 4.5 years. I've been a 007 for 2 years now, but this year at the Jungle Ball, I will debut in my new house.
Have you? I always hear. I always think. Now, forgive me from going into the past. But there's a very iconic movie and Broadway show called West Side Story. And I always think about the houses being a West Side Story battle. Is there any comparison? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Have I gone totally offensive?
Yes.
There's some
Yes, it can be.
similarity? Yeah, it can be. Why did you get into this? What attracted you to this?
So I'm a Haitian, I'm a first generation American. My parents are Haitians. They came here when my mom was 7 months pregnant with me. So, and I'm the only son. So when I graduated high school, I was watching America Best Dance Crew, ABDC, and Vogue Evolution was on there competing. And I took like little clips of that, and then I ended up graduating, so I couldn't really explore the ballroom community here or like the LGBT community, because when I was just coming out of the closet kind of society, but then my parents found out that I was like gonna be gay, so I got shipped to China for 4.5 years to do my undergraduates there. And then while over there, I was actually in the gayest city of China. My parents didn't know. No, I was in Chongqing, which is gay, the gay capital of China.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
So
Chongqing.
you speak Chinese?
Yes, I speak 5 languages.
Oh, wow. Okay. Go,
So
girl.
I went, when I was over there, I used to always just watch YouTube clips.
Wait, you just said you speak 5 languages.
Yes.
Wow.
When I was over there, I always used to watch the clips on YouTube or whatever. And then when I graduated, I ended up doing my internship in Atlanta at the Labs Court. So when I went there, I ended up meeting a person from the House of Prodigy there that brought me to a ball there. And I was supposed to be pledging to become a prodigy, but I ended up moving back to Miami. And when I moved back here, I met my gay mom, which is also the mother of my first house.
You
Ms.
used
Roddy.
a word that's very familiar to me, and I heard this earlier today. Alexis actually used this term, that a house is similar to a fraternity in terms of its conceptual idea, and you just used the word pledge. I was president of Sigma Chi in my college, and we would have pledges, and we had a great house, the Sigma Chi house. Is that accurate in terms of what I've summarized?
So every house has their own process of how they get new members, how they recruit new members. But now, when you're 007, you look at the houses that you want to be a part of, and then you go and speak to somebody. And normally, you pledge for them. Normally, the pledge could be like you have to walk 3 balls and win or make a moment, and then you can come over. But it's not. I think the only difference between a sorority and a house is a sorority or fraternity is more focused on like community service, and they're in schools and doing different community service projects, when really a ballroom house is for people who don't have the support on the outside. Like sororities and fraternity members, they still have their parents, they still have the school, they still have their friends supporting them. Ballroom people who are coming into houses don't have that support.
So
and
they're
more
more isolated,
yes.
and then the members of the house really become their family.
Yes, we
Correct.
are. So every chapter, so that could be like, for instance, the House of Infiniti. Power is the icon down here, and she's the mother of the Florida chapter. So in
She's
Florida,
definitely a mother.
Yeah. So in Florida, Power would be responsible for all of the Infinities down here.
So I have, sorry to interrupt. I have a question. When you're in the group, like, do you guys do charities? Do you guys like, what do you concentrate? It's just about dancing, or
so a lot of
I seen posts and I know they had like it was like kids that they were homeless and the HIV era. So it was something different.
Well, the charity in the ballroom scene would be like you mentioned, when one of those, like for instance, Alexis is a parent, he knows, and Power knows. When you're a parent, the charity isn't you going out and doing for the community, it's you doing for your kids. So when you have a kid who doesn't have nothing to eat, a kid who doesn't have shelter, a kid who doesn't have
the charitable
transportation,
aspect
food.
is for its own members.
Yes.
Who help
That's
them.
why.
So
That's why you have.
Yes. So you're
Antonio,
helping.
that's why you have the mother and the father, and that's why those titles are called that.
Got it.
Because we step in instead of the biological ones.
Correct.
And we are the ones that will help them out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw that in the show. That's why, I just wanted to make sure if you guys
On the
do
show-
something else for the community itself.
Yeah, but exactly like that on the show, the mother figure is exactly that. Someone who takes over and nurtures and guides over their own.
Okay.
And takes care of the family like if it was their own family.
Okay. When I hear about houses like the House of Lords, I constantly hear from people with my ignorance on this portion of our gay culture and our gay community that it is a very underground scene.
Yes.
Define those words for people that do not really understand gay and straight. Define what the underground scene means.
Everybody in this table knows what the white party in Vizcaya is all about. Everybody in this table has heard about the winter parties. Everybody
Gay
in this
days.
table,
Gay
everybody
days.
has heard gay days.
Alegria,
Now,
like all circuit parties and everything, they're all prides.
Right.
anybody in here can tell me what the latex ball was all about? Can anybody tell me what's the 13 reasons why that is going to happen in a couple of weeks? These are balls within our community that not every gay person knows. And that's what we're saying. We're underground. Now is when we're beginning to emerge. Shows like Pose has given us the opening that we need.
A platform.
Exactly. Shows like Pose, shows like My House in Viceland, all of those shows are featuring the ballroom community.
Perfect segment for us to say why we're happy that Alexis is here representing the House of Lords, and you can bring attention to this, and why TBoy being here. And so it requires the visibility of moving out of underground, and this platform gives you the opportunity. Tell us a little bit about the Jungle Ball. What's going to go on at it?
Okay, so before I start, I'll just.
By the way, one more time, VIP tickets for Jungle Ball.
I'll just mention.
We just went on America. I'm going to call them out if we don't get. No. Okay.
No, it will happen.
Yeah, right.
I'll just mention that Adonis did introduce me to the Florida ballroom scene because he's on here reading already.
Hi, Adonis. I've been reading
the Jungle
you.
Ball, the Jungle Ball came about in 2016.
Well, way before that, because we met because I actually explained that we had actually done the Jungle Ball back in
1998.
Now I understand it's the biggest ball in Florida.
It has become the biggest ball in
It
Florida.
has become. Yeah.
It-
Did you hear
our-
that, Power? I was trying to throw shade this way.
I will honestly tell you that, and I will give props. The reason why the Jungle Ball is one of the most successful ball in Florida if not the best and the most successful ball, is because I have an amazing promoting partner right here.
Yeah, great.
He goes and he promotes us, and he makes sure everyone knows about this.
In 5 languages.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking. Actually, it's funny. I was thinking when TBoy was talking about coming to America with his mother being pregnant, I was thinking, oh well, thank God for you and for you to have him as a presenting partner for you, because if it was today, you probably would have been thrown out of the country.
He was born here.
No,
So I have 2 more questions.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm just love to
Please ask away.
questions all the time. So when you call a house, so it's actually, do you guys have like a house where everybody lives? So if they don't have a house,
No. In my case, for example, in my family, I have actually shelter. And many of the well-known entertainers that are around right now, when they had their issues when they were younger, and some of them got thrown out of their house for real.
And you shelter
And
them
I
in
took
your
them
place, in your
in
own
my
place.
own house.
Got it.
A house doesn't mean a physical location.
Okay.
A house is where you make your home.
Got it. And then when you leave a house,
David, will you take
you
that,
become
please?
enemy with the other house?
You become,
So
no, you become a 007.
They don't talk to you anymore.
So currently, I'm a 007, and I left the House of Mizrahi after 4.5 years. I was there.
Okay.
But because I had differences with some of the leaders and how stuff were being managed in the house, I decided to split ways with them. But of course, there'll be a little bit of shade. Like they'll try, say for instance, when I go walk European runway, they'll probably send somebody to battle me.
Do
to
they
like,
sabotage you, like your costumes and stuff?
It's happened.
It's happened. It depends. It all depends. It depends on how you laugh.
As Josie and I get great VIP tickets to Jungle Ball, will I get to watch all of this behind the scenes sabotage and
One of
shade?
the things that you're going to be able to see having VIP tickets is a lot of the things that go behind the scenes. And not only is like everything. You have, from the moment you walk into the runway, you will see the people walking out there and being fabulous and everything. However, all the stress, all the issues, and all the craziness that happen behind stage and the preparations that go with it is stressful.
It's up to the minute. I think one thing that we need to recognize is, even though our scene has been underground since like the 70s, if not even before, all the contributions that we have made to our LGBT community that go unnoticed and have certainly gone unappreciated. Our contributions when it comes to lingo, when it comes to dance, when it comes to attitude, when it comes to style, all those things have been absorbed into our mainstream, and we've not been given the credit. So it's, yes, we've been underground,
but it's kind of been stolen away.
It has. It has.
Okay, how many
now,
of you watch RuPaul? Exactly, and
Hello.
you're no. I will give you.
I don't know about your scene. You clearly do not know about mine.
That's exactly the point that we were trying to make. That's what he's headed.
Everything, you know. And as soon as you see it on RuPaul, everybody thinks, "Oh, she started." No, darling,
she invented it.
It started way before her.
Interesting. Well, I'm excited about coming to Jungle Ball because here in South Florida, listen, America, if you're here in South Florida, but definitely to all of the people in South Florida that are listening, you want to come say hello to Josie and me and others that'll come with us. It's exciting to me because for the first time I made the connection that there's a real social justice factor in a ball in terms of how people are participating, how people are coming to watch, and the need of perhaps the people that are participating and watching of what you do. And I think that that's fantastic. I want to say to you, TBoy, we're really happy that you're here, and we wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
Jungle Ball, we show you one more time the information here, and we encourage you to come. And I'm excited now. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I got to get a real date. You're not going to be
That's for everybody.
Don't right?
Don't worry,
right?
you're
VIP.
my own, okay?
Right.
Plus one.
We're
just
TBoy
for everybody watching, because I don't think the flyer that you guys have it. The venue.
We're digital. First off, we don't have any flyers here. It is
I'm sorry. The picture of the flyer on
okay.
on the screen. Right. The address of the venue is 4949 Northwest 7th Avenue in Miami. It's at the Arts at the Elks venue. It is the old Elks Lodge off of 49th Street Street and Northwest 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
And it is
Okay.
It's July 20th.
20th.
Doors
We're
open
gonna be
at
there.
8 o'clock.
Old school.
Ball
I
starts
know.
at 3.
Yeah.
Ball starts at 9 o'clock.
Nope.
Ball starts. Ball
America,
starts.
America, only in South Florida. Only in South Florida. So again, thank you. Come to Jungle Ball Miami, and TBoy, thank you. And,
I might
and
have to
sit
get
there.
up and drag for
Yeah,
that night.
exactly.
Just
Thank
saying.
you. All right. We want to move on to our last segment before we close the show, and we have to tell you. Big news happened yesterday, and we're going to report on it. And of course, old school here. I loved Godzilla, and it was exciting. Well, I never realized that Godzilla was coming to Florida, and we have a full-fledged emergency here in Florida because Godzilla is attacking our state. We've prepared this in production. Watch what's happening with Godzilla.
Now let's have it, Steve. What about this monster story of yours? Well, it's big and terrible.
They're just destroying everything. Boats, seawalls, and then you got to pay a lot more money to come in and fix that seawall.
If you see them, kill them. That's the new order from Florida Fish and Wildlife tonight about those iguanas popping up in our neighborhoods. With the summer heat, the invasive lizards population here in Southwest Florida is exploding. FWC says if you see an iguana on your property, you should take care of it one way or another. That's because they could be hurting native plants and animals.
You just got to be careful, because if you corner an iguana and somebody tries to catch it, it's going to try to bite you. It's going to whip you with its tail.
So anything that affects the native wildlife, we kind of want to keep under wraps. This way we don't end up losing that and nothing goes extinct.
In Cape Coral, iguanas have become a problem, especially along canals and seawalls. It's illegal to shoot a gun within city limits, but you can use a pellet gun or air rifle on them
America, I'm not kidding. Florida is being attacked by Godzilla.
We should send them to Texas so they eat Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly
Good one.
right. Until I moved down here to South Florida, we have them all over the state. Especially coastal regions, but nothing like here in South Florida. There's thousands of them here. They get up to about 3 feet. Of course, we all intimately know about this because if you haven't watched it, you got to go back and watch it. Josie cooked one.
Yeah.
I wasn't
the tail,
here.
Once.
well,
although it could solve, our food shortage.
You talked about invasive
Yeah.
species. Exactly.
Sure.
Well, Florida Fish and Game declared a state of emergency yesterday and said kill them on sight.
No.
We have never seen an announcement like this. We've not seen it for boa. We haven't seen it for crocodiles or alligators. I haven't ever seen it before. I'm a native Floridian. Kill green iguanas on site in your yard, in your street, in your swimming pool, in your trees, whatever it is. And the reason is because they have 67 eggs.
76. You had turned it around.
Oh, do I have it backwards? 76 eggs.
I did my research.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I just still think of the 69.
Howard enjoyed that moment. Right. They have 69 eggs. And there's no predator. It's an invasive species. So, any thoughts about the invasion that's going on by the Godzillas?
Send them to Texas.
Cook them.
Cook them.
Joe Brookman already invited me over to have a killing party in his backyard. I was like, I don't know.
He probably has a lot of them. I stayed at a guest house on Wilton Drive. Literally, I could walk to a bar in 20. In fact, right around the corner from your house.
Yeah, they live in my trees. Don't
And
worry.
They live in my patio. I have a mango tree. They
love
best right now.
It's scared. Like 3 or 4 years ago,
They're so
I'm at a
cute.
guest house, and I'm in the back of the guest house, and it's a pool, and all of a sudden I hear thud. And the thud is, and this was in the winter, it was like in February, and what happened is they're cold-blooded, and it gets to a certain temperature, and from the trees, they fall out of the tree. And it's like, oh my God.
Guest house. He was at In Leather.
I guess Peter will be here shortly.
All right, exactly. All right, so we're all hungry, and of course, we always end our show with our friends at Jet pizza.
Is it
and
deep dish?
Jet, we're getting ready to have some pizza here.
What do
We're
we
here
got?
at the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel. It's our home here of It's Happening Out. They are
Wow.
a fantastic place
Pepperoni.
to stay here, and we're showing
With
you
iguana
that slide
topping.
here. Somebody, take that from
I'm
me.
vegetarian.
Is there
so I
iguana
need
dip
veggie.
sauce with that?
Yeah,
Veggie,
there's all
veggie.
kinds of stuff
Veggie,
that
veggie.
goes along with it. We also want to thank Color Copies USA. They do all kinds of things for us. They have done our set enhancements here at the Grand Hotel. Come down to South Florida and stay. Interesting, the majority of our guests, our viewers that watch the show, are from around the country. New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Seattle, Dallas, etc. So come LA, come down to South Florida, stay here at the Grand and eat Jet's Pizza. So that's our show for tonight. And we hope you've had a good time with us. We'll be back again next Wednesday. And we close the show as we do every week. You're going to put pizza in your mouth as you close the show?
Here we go.
Start doing it.
She can multitask.
Exactly. All right, well, then let's start with you. Power, give you the opportunity to say goodnight.
Well, children, in a brave new world, you need bold and beautiful voices. So that is why It's Happening Out is very important. Continue to watch, continue to support us, and we are going to continue to serve you fiercely. Good night, children.
I am really happy that you guys invite me because it's a way for me to expose my voice, which is completely different from a lot of people, obviously. Even though you guys love me or hate me, I don't care.
Love you.
And check out my show in September.
And
Good
Josie?
night.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys for making this show possible and allowing us to talk about things that really matter for our community and just really helping promote staying woke. Okay. You guys, good night and stay hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. And our guest host this week from the iconic House of Lords, Alexis.
Thank you. In my words, I will say I would like to thank you for giving us another platform to be able to give the world what ballroom is all about. Thank you for giving us an opportunity. Thank you for having me on the show, myself. Thank you for having my business partner on the show as well, TBoy. And I would like to say good night to my husband who's at home watching. Thank you, Christian. I love you forever.
Nice.
Very
nice. To another special guest host, Log Cabin Republican President Andrew Brett.
I want to thank you and for allowing a different voice. A voice that's in a closet in our community who is afraid to come out and support the conservative side. We can all agree to disagree. At the end of the day, we are all Americans. God bless America. God bless America. And I also want to commend TBoy for speaking 5 languages like Melania Trump.
Yeah. Funny. Okay.
She can barely speak
It's
4.
kind of a backhanded compliment.
Okay.
America, I end the show exactly as I started the show. We came on the air on September 20th, 2018 with an idea collectively of bringing a diverse group of faces together to talk about is there gay culture? Question number 1. And second, in the age of the 50th anniversary of Stonewall, is there still gay community? We are now July 2nd. The 50th anniversary is over. The greatest week in our history has just been experienced. So we answered both questions. Yes, there's gay culture. And most definitely, yes, there is gay community. You are proving that to us as we grow and grow with 411,000 of you watching a gay show.
Yes.
That is fantastic.
Thank you.
So we remind you, we think that this is important at It's Happening Out because we want to represent everything that is of interest to us. We are not a stereotype. The letters of our community are not a stereotype. We are not one thing, and we like to continue to put that in front of you at It's Happening Out. So we really thank you, and good night, America.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Gracie.